Finally got the wire rack together and started sorting the parts so I could get things organized around here. So let's see what we got. Hi, I'm Tom Kovichak, and this is Tom's Trains and Things. This channel was created to help other modelers who are in need of guidance in pursuing their dream of building a model railroad. I had this wire rack in the box for almost 2 months now. I got it back, I guess, in March when I was having headaches, so I really didn't put it together. It was just sitting there. So finally, what was it? Well, today is Friday. 2 days ago, on Wednesday afternoon, I started putting it together and started sorting through some of the electronic parts that I have. And boy, do I have a lot of parts. I have a lot of projects coming up. So let me show you a few things that I got. But before we get to that, look down here. Look down here. Yeah, right down there. I was supposed to get my parts to finish this up today on the 22nd. And they did not come in, but I did get one kit in. All right, this is what I got in. It is called Dock Level Steel Sash Entry. But the other ones that I really needed to fill in the blanks that I had on here that were supposed to be here today did not show up in the mail. In fact, they were just shipped out yesterday from Wisconsin. The one that I got yesterday wasn't supposed to be here until next Friday. I was working on a project. Somebody sent me a wiring diagram of a circuit and was wondering why it wasn't working. And we've been going back and forth to find out, why he was actually using it. And he's got some Atlas switches where he doesn't want to use relays to keep the LEDs on. So he said, he gave me a wiring diagram for a latching circuit, but to me, it looked like a flashing circuit. So I tried to reproduce it right here, and by golly, that's what it was. It was a flashing circuit. There is what it does right there. The only problem is, you can see when one is lit up, the other one is dim, and that's the problem he had when he turned on a push button on there. He had a push button. I had these little deals right here, but they were kind of hard to get to on the circuit board, so all I did was put this jumper in here to go to the negative for the push button to simulate the push button and see what happens here. Okay, that one stays on, and that one is dim, but you're supposed to just do it momentarily and the circuit holds it into place. Well, obviously it doesn't do that. Let's do the other push button on the negative and the same thing. But that was the issue that he was having with it, one bright and one dim. I don't think his resistors were high enough to block this when the other one was on, but I tried it 3 different times. I tore it all apart, redid it, and still came up with the same, just a flashing circuit. So I wrote him back and I asked him a question about, how I told him, it didn't work. Still waiting on a response for that. So let us take a look at what we got going as far as projects coming up and what I started sorting out. And I got these cute boxes at Home Depot whenever I got the second rack, only because that was the only ones that they had. They had a bunch of lids for all different other kinds, but no actual totes or boxes. I got a bunch of stuff in from DF Robot. Those are the ones that make the DF Player Mini, where you could do the sounds with it. But here's some relay modules, and why I got these is because you could plug them into a board and it has everything that you need. You don't have to run jumpers all over the place, and some push buttons. And here is a Uno with a GPIO shield on it. Now this will give me additional outputs for my Uno by way of I squared C. So I'll be able to, now this is a project that I'm going to be working on with the PCA 9685, this thing right here, where I could drive up to 16 servos, but the Uno doesn't have enough push inputs on it to put 16 push buttons on it and 32 LEDs. So with the help of this GPIO, maybe we can do that. If that doesn't work, if we don't get enough from that, I also got a couple of integrated circuits that have output expanders on it. And it's just like a, I can't remember what they're called, but I'll put it up there on the screen. I got a couple of those, and I got a couple of, and I think they're in another tote somewhere. I'll have to get it over to this one here, where from WaveShare, which is other, they have a little circuit board that you could plug into your Uno, which is also an output expander. So I have a shield here for a Mega, which does the same thing. You could put all your inputs and outputs on here. So all you have to do is just plug in your plugs on here like that. So you don't have to mess around with a bunch of jumper wires all over the place. Here's your regular pins over here. These pins back here are for all these pins in the back that are on the Mega. So you also have XB ports over here for additional features, and you have an SD card reader right there. Now, I'm not sure if we can do sound with that. I'll have to check into that further. Look at the wiki on here, and you also have a place over here where you could do some prototyping. You could solder some components on there. So this is a Mega Sensor Shield version 2.4 by DF Robot, and this little gizmo here is a GPIO shield for Arduino version 1.0. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. That is going to be a follow-up on the video that I did for the PCA 9685, where I did the servos. This is my tote with the lightning project on here. Here is my strip of LEDs. The speaker, I have it on a Nano and a DF Player Mini. It's all ready to go to be put on a circuit board. Now, it takes a MOSFET transistor, and I picked up a package of MOSFET transistors that was already on the board. You can see it right here. You just plug it in, and you got your terminals right there. We're going to see if that makes it a little bit easier, because I got a bag of, I think, about a dozen of them right here for about $10. So that is a project that we're going to be finishing up, putting it on a circuit board and sticking it back in that corner back there where the mountain is. I think I originally said that I was going to put it back there where the mountain is. I could probably put the LEDs behind the mountain and flash up on the wall. And I have a lot of cotton that I could put up there to simulate clouds and make them a little bit dark to make that look a little bit better. So back there on that wall, back there behind the mountains, here is the little tote of all the projects that I will be working on. These are all the parts that I bought in the past couple of months, maybe 3 months. Some of these, like this one here, I bought about a year ago in hopes to work on this. This is a small stereo amplifier that I plan on putting on with the lightning, see if that thing works. This is a project that I I'm working on the circuit board right now with building lights and some sound with that speaker right there. Here are the two output boards that I was talking about earlier, the wave share output boards. I got to put that in the other tote. And why I'm going through this stuff right here is I need more totes so I could divide all these things up into separate projects. Here's the little SMD LEDs. You know, little buggers in there. Those are little itty bitty things. I hope I'll be able to solder those on. I hope I'll be able to solder wires onto them little itty bitty things. We got some power plugs, male and female, right there. I got a couple of bags of 10K potentiometers. Well, here is a Uno that I picked up at eBay for, I think, about $5. And I think it was a reject. I picked up two of them. We got a bunch of JST connectors right here. And assorted LEDs for some projects. These are just a couple of boards. Here's some other connectors here for a different project that I used on these right here. You can remember these. These are the little plug-in USB LEDs. Here is a keypad that is, you just barely have to touch it and it will actuate. And here is one where you actually have to touch it. I want to use this, play around with that, experiment with that. Here is a board for a Raspberry Pi. Here's some more JST connectors right here. Those are the breakout boards for the power supply. Okay, we got that's a breakout board for a Nano. And I also got an Arduino Wi-Fi. Uno Wi-Fi revision 2. And I got a 8 relays. So hopefully we'll have some projects with that, but I need to sort all these out and put them into different totes for each individual project that I need to work on. This is my DCC++ tote. As you can see right here, what do we got? We got the breakout board for the computer power supply. I got the little power supply right here for the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi 3 is right here. Now I have this one right here, and I also bought a Raspberry Pi 4. I need to buy a case for it. So I'm going to have one for the Mega, and then one, this is the Mega right here. I have a Mega with a Polulu motor shield on it. And I have that for the module. And this is a little buck converter where I could boost up the voltage from the power supply all the way up to 18 or maybe even 20 volts on the Polulu. So to give me some good power on that one there. And here is an Uno with an Arduino motor shield on it. And I'll put the other, I may put this Raspberry Pi on this one and put the Raspberry Pi 4 on the Polulu motor shield for on the module. So this is my Raspberry Pi tote right there. Here is a little shoebox with assorted boards on here. Here's a DF Robot motor shield. I'm not quite sure that one worked. Here's an old relay board motor shield. There's an old motor shield right there. Just a bunch of stuff that I have. Here's a Deke Robot extra motor shield. Some extra parts. Here's the capacitor substitution box, my resistance substitution box. I have a bunch of stuff on here. Here's another resistance substitution. Here's a practice circuit board that I was practicing on. And what do we have here? Oh, another keypad. That's a little flat keypad right there. And I almost forgot all these small parts Some of these are brand new. These are old sensors that I'm going to be using on my projects right here. Some other sensors, Lawrence Eggering turned me on to these where it has the sensors on the edge of it. And he says they're a little bit better than the ones that I've been using. Here's SD card reader, and I showed you this. I think this is so we could interface CMRI with DCC++. I'm going to be experimenting with that right there. Here's some version 1 of the ESP32, where it came out real short, and they mounted it on a relay. Here is ESP32, and I think this is version 3 right here, so you can see the difference right there between version 1 and version 3. This is what I showed you a couple of weeks ago on the Monday live stream, which I'm going to be replacing with these deals right here. I just have to assemble them. There's the little coil that goes onto the board, and all, the only other thing on there is a resistor. Here is a bunch of touch-sensitive sensors that I'm going to play around with their little touch-sensitive push buttons. This is a little, I think this is a little amplifier. I'm not quite sure. And what else we got? We got some jumpers. I have a little, here is a Pro Mini and LEDs. Oh yeah, and here is another output expander. Look at this little itty bitty OLED screen right there, that little itty bitty thing. And this thing right here, I got to figure out, this is a USB to something. I have to look this up, but I bought this for some reason that I wanted to use. And so I have to look at the number on there to figure out what I bought it for. That's what happens when you have stuff in storage for a while. We got the Memorial Day edition of the Monday Night Live Stream coming up this Monday, so I hope to see you there. So, until then, we'll see you. Okay, here we go. Finally put my wire rack together and started sorting out my parts. So let's see what we got. Okay, I was a little bit off. I'm pointing up here right now. Okay, so. Okay, now focus on me. Okay, right here. How come that one's not focused over there? Okay, there it goes. All right, here we go. All right, now let's try this again.